Sprinklers are still coming on in the video.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't have a gavel. Like to bring the meeting to order. Great. May I have a roll call for my left?
Hold it down.
Janet Algren.
Gail Morelli. We have a quorum. Do we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have company today. Okay. Very good.
So the president's remote.
Before we get any further, I wanted to let you know that the gentleman sitting over here is our latest office person, Terry. And I wanted to take a moment to introduce Barry Notowitz as our new vice president. We're really happy to have him.
Thank you.
Would you like to tell us what you're interested in or what you?
Sure. So I'll give you a quick story about my background. My background is in heavy construction, bridges, tunnels. For those of you who lived in New York, or go back to New York and use the air train. I was the project manager for the Van Wyck section from Federal Circle all the way to Jamaica. So I have a little bit of experience in construction, 43 years, and I hope that I can bring that experience here and help save some money and become more efficient and get these projects going the right way. Yeah, I have not. We can talk about that. We can discuss that too. Okay. I'm open. Anything, any questions or comments anybody has, feel free to grab me.
Can I add that he's jumped in with both feet on the roads project and has been terrific as far as closing out the roofing project this year. He's got questions and eyes that were invaluable.
Thank you.
There's a question on the, no. I'm sorry,
No, not please.
the roads? No. And that's Master, I'm not answering one question on the roads. Okay. I know nothing. Like, what's her name? The lady that was in, Gone with the Wind? I don't know nothing about birth and no babies, Miss Scarlett. Okay, we have the painters are working right now. We're painting 13 buildings. And they're halfway through and we haven't had a single complaint. They always do a beautiful job and we're very happy. There's a note here that our architectural committee does not have anybody on it from the villas. So if you talk to your friends and neighbors or you have an interest yourself in representing the villas on the architectural control committee, please step up, speak to Anissa or even committee chair. Because we like that representation. We're going to start cleaning roofs. We decided to do 10 buildings and Anissa is going to drive around in our southern section to begin with. We want to kind of do it in sections, but 10 buildings will be chosen as the worst ones that need it, you know. And the vendor is currently booked up and he will need 2 months to schedule the 10 buildings. As I said, Anissa will choose which ones will be the worst. Some buildings have nothing and others have a big old tree and the roofs are always black. So that's how it's going to work. but we can only do 10. It's about $5,000. Jeannie, do you have a question on the? Hold on.
Hi, Jeannie Gibbons. When you say clean, do you mean the shingles or just the flat roofs or just the villas? What does that mean by cleaning the building?
The shingles, basically.
Okay, so where it's coming down from the tar
Right.
and the seeping, yay.
Rick,
When you say $5,000, is that for the 10 roofs or is it each roof?
No, pay all buildings, the 10 buildings.
10
itself.
buildings.
So
And-
four.
And what about, so you're gonna start on the south side of the community?
Yeah.
When are you going to be doing others?
another year or so?
That's all we can
We
spare?
had $2,500 in the budget to do roofs. And we didn't have anything in the budget prior, I don't believe. So we didn't do it last year, so we are gonna spend $5,000 this year. But we're
Okay.
trying, you know, if we have money left over, it would be nice, we could do a little more, but we're trying to be a little conservative.
I believe that the company that used to do it was, I believe that it was Heffernan. They were very, very good. They were fantastic. Not Heffernan, I think it was. Yeah. And they were very good. I don't know who else is doing it, but they were
I think
very good.
Fiddler.
Hmm?
Fiddler, I believe, right? If we want, you could
We
check.
could check them.
We could check the records and
Financial
see if
ops
they're around and maybe get another quote. It's 125 per roof. So it's
Per unit.
per unit. So we can check that before we send out a, yeah. Yeah, needs it. Okay,
Oh.
end of the question.
Somebody else. Oh, hi, I'm Dennis, how are you?
Okay.
We talked on the internet a little bit. In reference to, I'm at 2956. Northwest 7th Court. When are they gonna be doing the roofs?
We just finished them.
Just finished roofs.
We just finished the largest number of roofs. I think the villas is done in, I don't know, the history. But we don't normally do, what, 22 roofs? That's a lot of roofs. So I don't know what the next, what buildings are in the next batch, and it wouldn't be until next year.
Oh, it's a villa.
Villas,
Right.
we don't have a list yet.
You don't have a list of, we're gonna get notified ahead of time?
I think there's plenty of time to do that, yeah.
Okay,
We have to go through all the records and figure out which ones are next.
okay. And can I ask you a question about the on the roof, right?
We're gonna get to roofs just now. Let her just approve the meeting minutes and then we have code red here. And then after we can ask questions.
Yeah, Code Red is gonna,
Can I get into my,
yeah,
yeah?
Later,
All
with
right.
them.
after, later.
Can I
Well,
get into my
No. we're gonna
turbine
approve
roof?
the meeting
Can I get
minutes.
into my turbine fan now?
Not now,
No.
wait till Code Red is here and speaking with
All right.
us.
So what do I gotta do? Go through the building department?
We're going
Let's-
through an agenda right now that we need to follow. So let's approve the minutes and then introduce code red and you could ask any roofing questions to them.
So, we had a last meeting in January 2025 and what? Oh, I'm sorry.
So this is in reference to the
Yeah,
Mary Vita. In reference to the roof cleaning, a lot of roofs have been repaired. Is there a way to potentially mandate a gutter installation, especially for the new roofs? Because I think not having gutters has a lot of impact on the deterioration of the shingles. It's not a huge cost. The units right across from me, the 4 units banded together and they did the entire villa, 4 units, which is commendable. But I did notice that a lot of homes without the gutters have a lot of black and deterioration, whatever you want to call it. Now, keep in mind that new roofs have been installed. And I don't know how this is going to work on your part, but would it be possible that to establish like a rule, you either have 6 months, let's say, or 3 months to put up gutters, or in the future, your potential roof repair will not be covered? I mean, it is a responsibility on everybody's part to maintain. You don't run out the oil of your car, you replace it, you maintain it, and this is part of a maintenance. And I think it's quite a big factor. So is there a way, probably on the part of the board, to make this a mandatory, of course, with a courtesy time frame, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. You don't want to catch anybody off guard. But I think that would be something that really should be considered.
I 100% agree with you, but it's not in the documents. We cannot force anybody to do something like that. I believe it would have to be voted on by all the residents of the villas. It's the best idea. And yes, I think shingles deteriorate faster. When you see the black coming down the side of a building, you know what it is. But we can't mandate that. And Code Red is going to tell you that they're not using the gutter guide that they had, but they're doing installation of gutters as well. If anybody's interested, we can find out prices.
Well, is
But-
there a way to amend the documents that in order to have coverage for your roof, you need to do your part and have gutters
It's
installed?
not that simple. If we were gonna amend the documents, we wouldn't just address that one thing, but it would have to go out to all the residents with the proper vote, all legal. It's not a simple thing to do.
We're all paying for, negligence on some people's part, and it just.
Paul Marquis, I don't believe you can tell them that their roof will not be covered if they don't put up gutters, because that's in our documents that our roof is part of your job.
That's true.
Okay. Oh. Right?
While we're on roofs. How they clean the roofs? Are they gonna pressure wash it or,
Oh,
just
you-
blow
You
it?
never pressure wash a roof. Those granules that are on the shingles
Yeah,
are the
well,
most important part of the shingle. Code Red can address that when they talk, but those are the most important part of the shingles. If you pressure wash it and wash them off, you're gonna destroy the shingle.
the reason I'm asking, because I already had 2 wind mitigations done on my house. And while we're on roofs,
For the first
how
one,
many years before you have to have a roof replaced?
too soon.
How long?
It's changing. Some
What do you-
roofs seem to deteriorate a little faster than others, maybe because a tree is nearby. I don't know, but it was,
It was 25 years. We had 25-year shingles, but what we've determined is that the roofs are not lasting 25 years, as
Okay.
well as some of the insurance companies are mandating after 18 years, they want to have it changed.
All right,
So basically, when you get to the 15th year, you want to
Yeah.
have somebody inspect the roofs, see the condition of it, how long again it can last, and that opinion comes from the roofer. They'll be able to.
we had
guide us.
inspection on these last ones that were all done?
They're brand new roofs. The last set that we did,
Yeah, we had 3 of them were 15 years. Mine's 15. Oh, yeah, I got the list. And I had the records too.
there's.
But I know
one
you already
building
told
we
me
did
my
before.
records aren't any
Remember the
good.
building that was before? I'm sure. Remember the one building we had to do earlier because they only did 3 units? It's
yeah,
that
we had
building.
one roof that had to be done because only 3 of 4 roofs were done. I don't know why. But we did that a little prematurely, just so all 4 were done at the same time and, keep the record straight. And I think there was one that I recall, they hadn't done part of the roof at the time the rest of the roof was done. Maybe the roof over the kitchen in a villa. But a couple of decisions like that were made and they were included in this go round. Okay,
Wait,
we
one
have-
more question, sorry. Just want to.
What don't you know, Terry?
No, I wanted to say that we were told when Code Red came in, if we didn't put the gutters on, they wouldn't be responsible for things that happened if the roof underneath the eave and things like that. But you're right, you can't force them to change. And I don't know if we could do it just for villas. We'd have to do it for everybody because it stands the same for homes. You don't have to put it on. We can't force anybody to put it on. And to change homes and villas documents is a very hard thing to do. Just like you can't force anyone to have insurance if they own the home. You know, if you own the home outright, it's yours. And the gutters, they did tell us that if you don't put it on, they won't be responsible if there's a leak down the road if you don't put them on. Now, I would say half the people don't put them on, more. But we can't force them. And it's their roof. It's not gonna be our roof, so your roof or my roof, because I have gutters, so I'm covered. If they don't do it, if their roof leaks, they don't honor it, that's not, you know, up to the HOA.
I have to be honest and tell you, I don't remember them saying that, but we can ask them when,
Yeah.
when they
Yes,
stand
okay.
up, when I call on them. I just want to approve minutes.
Thank you. Right.
I have the minutes from January 2025. May I have a motion to approve them without reading?
I move that we approve the last minutes without reading them out loud.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we could go on to new business. So the first one we have is the meeting with Code Red. So Code Red completed 22 buildings for the 2024-2025 roofing project. At this time, we have received copies of all the certificate of occupancies as well as the permits. We are going to digitally store it into the Connect system, as well as we're going to put a hard copy in each homeowner file that we have. If you want to get a copy, you can stop by the office to get a physical copy, or you can send an email to the Rainberry Bay email and they'll send you a copy of it so you have it for your records. And then those that purchase solar tubes or skylights from Code Red, the roof has a warranty for 10 years. Those skylights and solar tubes are also included. You need to have a copy of your paid invoice to keep for your records. You would have gotten it when you paid them. If you need a copy, the office also has it. So with that, I want to introduce Code Red so you guys could come up. Lower. Yeah.
Sorry. Falling down in the job.
We don't have our mics, but I am grateful to be introduced with an applause. So I think we did something okay. I'm Tommy. I'm the branch manager for our Palm Beach location, and this is Bronson.
Yeah, I'm one of the account managers. I help just kind of navigate HOA and large scale projects like this. So that's part of my role at the company.
Yeah, so if you were here last time while we were here, you would have recognized Griffin. He was a gentleman our age that was with us. He's moved over, still within the company, as our gutter division expert. He's running the gutter division. He launched it, is running it. We didn't have that originally. So I know it was mentioned that we are now doing gutters. That's a new thing for us. We have very experienced people running it for us, but it's new as in we weren't doing it last time we met with you guys. We are doing it now. So if you do have a need for gutters, feel free to call us and let us know. We'd be happy to come out and take care of that for you. But ultimately, I'm here, Bronson's here. We're here just to make sure that you guys are happy with everything that took place, make sure that you guys are comfortable with everything that took place, answer any questions. The finals are passed on all your buildings. All the punch list stuff took place as far as we're aware of. So from where we're sitting, we're believing that everything is good and done, and we want to make sure that's true with you guys. Make sure that you're all happy with everything that took place and that we're good to go.
Tommy, can I ask you to speak to them about the warranty, how they can void their warranty?
Definitely. So that's a huge thing for us. We want to honor our warranty just as badly as you want us to honor it, right? So let's say 4 years down the road, God forbid something happens and you have a small leak come through and you're calling us, we don't want to show up and find out that you had another company pressure wash your buildings, or you had another company put a solar tube or a skylight in, because ultimately what that does is, because we didn't approve it and we didn't have anything to do with it, it would void the warranty. If you put Christmas lights up and you nail through the roof, it voids the warranty. Unfortunately, the other day, and we're super flexible. We want to work with you guys. We enjoy the partnership we have with your community and with Anissa and your board. We honor them a lot and we trust you guys a lot. So the other day I was driving through and I happened to notice someone was having windows put up on there on the not two-story, but I think it's above the kitchen, if I remember correctly. They had their saws on the roof, brand new roof. Saws were up on the roof, materials were all up there. And for me to see that, it makes me real hesitant because what if they puncture a hole in our new roof and then we're the ones liable? I think it makes sense. I think it's fair, but ultimately, anytime you're going to have anyone walk on your roof, anytime you're going to have work done on the roof, we want you guys to call us. That way we can make sure everything is being done properly and your roof is being taken care of in the process. Does that make sense?
So just to kind of add a little bit of clarity here too, by the way. We have this question happen a lot. I know solar is not a conversation here, but it's a good example. Residents will ask us, hey, I want to put solar on my roof and I want to put it over on the right-hand side of the roof. We go, okay, awesome. Does that void my warranty? And the answer is, well, no, unless they put a hole on that side of the roof, you know, like where they install the solar, the warranty needs to be covered by the solar company. But the rest of the roof, let's say on the far other side in their kitchen, they start getting a roof leak. We're not going to come out and say, actually, it's even in our documents, it says that we're not going to come out and say, oh, well, because you worked 400 feet over there, your warranty is voided over here. Does that make sense? So when he's mentioning things like Christmas lights or people accessing the roof, what we really mean emphatically is you know, obviously take care of this to the best of your ability. If someone else causes damage, our company is not giving you a warranty that says no one can ever damage your roof, right? But if it is a leak, our number one priority is that you call us and we'll get it right. That's it, as simple as that.
Yeah, I'll just add one more thing of the gutter comment of the confusion of will we honor a warranty whether they put gutters up or not? In theory, gutters should not cause not cause a leak with a roof. It's two separate individual items going on. Water's coming off the roof into the gutters. Whether you have gutters or not, water's coming off that roof. It's where's the water going from there? Gutters are redirecting the water to a certain location. They're controlling the flow of water on the ground. So if you don't have gutters, what you run the risk of is damaging the property around your home. Whether it causes concrete damage as it starts to deteriorate the concrete, whether it causes damage to the dirt and the grass around the side of your buildings, that's where you'll start seeing damage. When it comes to our warranty, we'll warranty our gutters for, I believe it's 3 years, and then the roofs, your roofs are warranted for 10 years. Whether you have gutters or not, we are going to honor that warranty in regards to your roof. I believe there was a question here. Oh, okay.
For the people at home. Does every member of the villa have to get gutters? If you're getting gutters, one of them can just get it and the rest don't have to get it.
I'm not a gutter person, but from what I've seen in your neighborhood and from what I've seen from our gutter company, you can do it individually, from my understanding.
If I could just, and you can kind of confirm this with me, code, when you say, do you need gutters, right? Code, no. The code enforcement is not going to come out and say, hey, why aren't there gutters here? You know, little pingy. Second would be, do you need gutters for you personally? The answer is probably maybe. Okay, perfect. And then third would be that depending on the shape of your home, it might depend on what system we use.
I would have, oh, sorry about that. That was, promise I didn't just yell. I would personally recommend gutters from your homes. I've seen the people that have gutters and the people that don't have gutters. I personally would recommend it. I think it does you justice. It's just my fault. So.
I'd just like to make one comment. Like Tommy said, the purpose of the gutter is to bring the water away from the house. If you don't have gutters, you risk damaging your foundation, the stucco, the paint, and everything else around the house if you don't put those gutters in. It draws that water away so it doesn't infiltrate your foundation, and you'll have bigger problems if you don't put them in.
This is just to address this young lady's, Mary, that wanted to go ahead and have a rule passed that we all need to get gutters in order to preserve our roofs. This gentleman here from Red Roof, or, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Code Red.
Code Red just said that the gutters do not prolong the life of the roof, correct? Whether you have gutters or not does not affect the roof.
There's very few scenarios where it will affect the roof. Every once in a while, yeah, it can be important, but dominantly not really looking at the roof. Most of the time, it has more to do with the rest of the properties.
Right, so that we're just clear on that, we don't need to have a rule so that people's roofs will be replaced at the same time. The gutters really have nothing to do with the elongation of the roof life.
Flat roof would be a different story. But as long as there's a pitch on the roof, it will not
So we're
affect.
talking about the townhouses that would benefit from the gutters.
Absolutely.
Okay. But has nothing to do with passing the rule. Okay.
What about, I was told, even on the pitch roof,
Talk into it.
if it goes down underneath from, say, the gut is separated a little bit from the roof, doesn't it go under the eave and get into the roof, into the shingles there at the end of the plywood?
You're referring to where the shingles meet the edge of the
Right,
roof,
right,
the water
right,
potentially being able to
yeah,
backtrack up
right.
and in. So right there, we have a piece of metal called the drip edge, which has a little kick out to it. Not only that, we have a 1x2 behind the drip edge, so it sticks out an inch from the edge of the roof. That helps push the water off. It just keeps getting louder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That helps push the water off of the roof a little bit more. In theory, it could damage the fascia, is what the wood, the 1x6, the 1x8, whatever it might be. That's what in theory it could
We had
damage.
problems with that, but saying within the quad, there's 4 people. I have right across the street from me, only one guy put the gutters up. We can't make the other 3 put it up. It's up to them. Yet I had another quad, they all just did it together, so they got a better price. But if one person does it, that's what he wants to save his home. The foundation, the pouting, patio, all that stuff. But we can't really, you could ride around here and see how many have them, don't have them. Most new people that have a new roof will do it. People that are here, that are older, are not gonna spend the money.
I also want to say that it's the homeowner's dime, sorry, to put it on.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going into next. You're one step ahead of us. So we wanted to share a little bit about hurricanes. With hurricane season coming up and us entering this rainy season, what would happen for you guys if a hurricane were to hit? Now, a hurricane is a natural disaster, if you will. It's something that warranties can't cover that because it's not a workmanship issue at that point. It's a natural disaster. It's an act of nature, act of God, act of nature. So we will and we would love to help you through that process. There are things that we would recommend doing over not doing. Like if you have a leak come up, we obviously recommend call us first. Let us come out and take a look at it before you call someone else. That's not us being greedy saying we want all the business. It's what if we do want to honor the warranty through this, that we recognize there was an issue and the hurricane brought it to light. We're going to honor the warranty because we're recognizing it to be our fault. If there's not, then we're gonna give you a proposal for it. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? I don't mind you guys getting multiple bids at that point. Ultimately, it becomes an insurance issue when a hurricane comes through. We need to start calling insurance companies. We'd be happy to provide bids along to help you with the insurance companies. And we'd be happy to tarp roofs for you. We're in the process with your board. Your board is trying to help take care of you. Like I said, your board is one of the best boards that I've ever worked with. They're trying to help take care of you in the sense of if something were to take place, what is our response time going to look like? Are you on the back burners for 2 weeks where you have to deal with the leak for 2 weeks because we're swamped with other jobs? Or are we going to come to you guys first? You guys are going to get our priority. We're going to come out and tarp a roof if we absolutely have to. And then we're going to get to the reparations and the repairs of your roofs when that time comes along. What's that? So if it was done by someone other than us, we would still be more than happy to work with you and tarp it for you and take care of the repair for you. That comes at a cost, whether that would be between you and the board and your HOA of who's paying for it. That's out of my control and out of my hands. But we would still be more than willing to come out and do the work for you. There's a gentleman named Brian Beaudry. He's been out here quite a bit helping you guys. Some of you might have met him before, maybe not, but he's a great gentleman. He'll come out and help with getting the repairs set up and taken care of, whether it's our roof or not. We would be happy to do that.
One other small thing to add to this too. Obviously our priority, we've got three core values in our company. One of them is integrity over profitability. It's something that all of us say to each other. It's how we make decisions. It's how we make the choices that our team makes. If you walk through our main office, there's about 4 or 5 different people that have that scribbled on their, chalkboard or their little dry erase board. So that's what we're here to do ultimately. But one of the things that I always kind of look at is, just follow the money, right? Our goal is to make sure that you guys are a high priority for us because we know, hopefully, if we've done enough to earn your trust, we'd like to have more business out of this community. And so as we go through the next few years, I just want you to know, we've got about 5 different communities that are on our top 5 list. Y'all are one of them, so our response time, you should expect some priority. Our willingness to work with you, our willingness to say yes. My whole job is to make sure that we continue to keep this project moving forward over the next 3, 5, 10 years. And that's just something to kind of keep in mind that we're not only here to do the good job, but we're here to sustain that relationship as we move forward.
Yeah, we have a comment over here. It says, Roberta says, I had gutters in New York and they needed cleaning often because they got clogged with leaves. I put the gutter guards on. The problem was not solved. I'm sorry I did anything. So, I don't know where to go with that. But anyway,
So gutter guards are great
If
when
I
the leaves are
understood that-
dry.
What was that?
Gutter guards are great when the leaves are dry. As soon as the leaves get wet, forget your gutter guards.
okay.
Yeah, gutter guards are something that companies like to upsell. What ends up happening is the leaves now just get stuck on top of the gutters instead of inside the gutters. So whether they actually work or not, to each their own opinion, we would probably say otherwise.
So
Hi, Lenny. Lenny moved here 2 years ago. Never had trouble with any leaks or anything until after you guys did the roof. And where the roof meets the flat top,
Yes.
it's been leaking since then. Right after you finished the roof, somebody caulked it. Didn't rain for a long time.
Mhm.
Last week, Monday and Tuesday, we had the rain, thunderstorm, and it leaked again. Somebody came out again and patched it. I don't know if it's holding or not.
Right. That was DeAndre. He had come out. Yeah, so what you're referring to is where a handful of you have an aluminum porch attached or a screen room attached to your roofs. Now, that's something that we had nothing to do with the aluminum roofs, right? So what ended up taking place was we just put a brand new roof on your home, brand new roof, but we had to reuse your old aluminum porch. If you take a brand new motor and put it in a car and keep all the old axles, all the old equipment for everything else, that old stuff is going to break because it can't keep up with the new equipment, right? So with the old aluminum roof, as all the shaking of the new roof got put in, as we were re-nailing the new nails into your plywood, making everything come up to code, those old structures, they were rattled during that. It's common, that takes place. Sometimes the old drywall receives a few cracks. These aluminum roofs, sometimes they start to leak. What it is ultimately the shaking of the new roof and the construction process of these new roofs will cause these issues. Unfortunately, you're not alone in that. Our recommendation for that is we don't do aluminum roofs, so we tried to help out by sealing that. We tried to help everyone we could when it got brought to our attention. If it worked, we celebrated with you. If it didn't, unfortunately, we just had to recommend calling another company that actually does that work because we don't do the aluminum roof structures.
Oh, you didn't do the roof on the unit where I live, and I wish you would have. It was done 3 years ago when shingles are falling. She knows. But on a different note, I was able to observe the work that was done in the surrounding area. Your people, your workers did an amazing job. I mean, those guys are working fast, and I just have, nothing but just to commend you for it.
I
I
appreciate
wish you
your-
would have done my roof, but it is what it is.
I appreciate that. So I did want to speak on, can I get a second to speak on that? I'm assuming you and him answered if you're talking about the shingles falling, the two-story townhomes. So it was brought up to our attention that when we hit those roofs, we got really slow for a little while. All of a sudden you saw us start a roof and it took us a while to finish that first one. And then we got the second and third and we got in a groove. What it is with those roofs, they're a completely different style of roofing. And he's even let us know other companies turned those roofs down. They didn't want to touch them because those are very complicated. We had to pause the schedule because of the risk of rain at one point. We had to pause the schedule for some material that we had to change the materials in order to make sure we were doing the right job for you. So we ran into a couple of small hiccups that just took time for us to address and fix. And then on top of it, we rented a man lift that was only picking up 2 people at a time. So I wasn't going to send out a 10-man crew for a machine that picks up 2 people. We realized that it was taking way too long. The concern got brought to our attention. We sent out a bunch of 2-story ladders and the crew, and we got it done. That way, we redid our thought process of how it was going to go. The timeline of it was really unfortunate because that was when Trump had come into office and started doing his thing. That is not what took place with our crews. All of our crews are in-house W-2 employees. They're all paid and taxed just like us. That is not what happened. The guys that finished the roof are the same ones who started from day one. It was the same crew all the way through. And that was it. That's the honest truth. Leo and David were the guys' names. It was a father and son crew. So
I have a question. May I? I don't have a bird cage or screened in. I have a extended patio roof. It's on a slight pitch, but it's flat. I understood that you are able to seal it.
yes,
Okay.
that's what we were attempting to do on some of the homes, where we would put a silicone sealant over the aluminum structure where we do have leaks taking place. That is an option. It's not something we typically offer as a company. We try to do it as a courtesy of,
I'll reach out to you and you'll give me a price for that.
for sure.
All right, thank you.
And
Hold on.
So with these aluminum, if we're talking about aluminum patio structures, there's a couple areas that we do cover. There's a couple areas that we don't, where they attach to the roof on the roof line. That tie-in section, sometimes there's some different techniques we can do to improve that or to keep that safe. Where the seam panels meet together, it's usually something that actually really our even license doesn't allow us to work on aluminum systems. It's as a roofing contractor, it's not like we're not allowed to, but that extends beyond both our skills, techniques, and tools. There are some things you can do to really tie those in really well if you're an aluminum company. There's also some other solutions that we may be able to offer you as far as really anybody that has an issue with this. But the way I like to kind of describe that is with waterproofing techniques, if you go to a plumber, there's 2 approaches, right? Hey, I've got a leaking pipe. Okay, we can use duct tape. And if it doesn't work, we can use more duct tape, right? Like a lot of really dumb material will eventually stop the leak, right? That's kind of what silicone coating and what caulking does for those what are called poly or pan roofs. Sometimes that can be really effective, but you got to really do it. And sometimes it doesn't work. Well, just do it again, until you get there. Now, the other approach would be if you hired a plumber and he came in with his tools, his license, his equipment, his apprentice, and they did the whole thing, took it all apart and put it all back together the right way, or maybe with a different way. That's kind of the thing that we want to just kind of express. We can't do that second thing, not with aluminum structures. We can offer some solutions for the, I would say on the duct tape scale of solutions for aluminum structures. But if you do need further assistance, we also have some partner companies we can point you at and make sure you get taken care of. So just, I hope that was helpful and not too redundant, but yeah.
That's one thing here. Before I retired, I worked in the coatings department in the laboratories. And I noticed down here in Florida, they still maintain on these flat roofs, they want to put black coatings on them. And there's stuff out there called like elastomeric. Have you heard of it? And it's white, which reflects the heat. How come they don't use it down here that much?
You'll see it down here, but because it's white, it tends to blend in a whole lot more. So it's harder to see. Now, there's a way to use these products and there's a way not to use these products. If your roof has already begun leaking and you take this silicone coating and put it over the roof, what you just did was you trapped a bunch of water underneath the silicone coating and it's going to eventually start rotting away. The right way to do it would be to repair the leak correctly and then do the silicone coating. But people like to cut corners and like to just throw it right up on top because it technically does stop the leak. There's also a way to preserve the longevity of your roofs, where after a number of years, you go and put the silicone coating on before the leaks show up, and that prolongs the life of the roof. You don't want to do it immediately. You want to wait a few years because there's those things called the granules, what Mr. Barry had talked about. Those are loose up there because it's a brand new roof. Some of you might have noticed some coming off the roof and onto the ground. That's very normal as they're brand new shingles. Some of those that didn't get stuck all the way are gonna come off. It's completely normal. Give it 2 or 3 months, a few heavy rainfalls, and you should see it lighten up and stop doing that. With the flat roofs, it takes a little bit longer because they're flat and there's no slope. Once a few years goes by, then you could go and prolong the life by adding the silicone coating, and that helps. Like I said, it just prolongs the life of it. But you want to give it a little while before you go ahead and do something like that.
Green? Good.
So the roofing industry as a whole is a slippery slope. Many times there'll be a roofer comes in, and I've dealt with them through my career, and 2 months later they disappear, they're out of business, they're under a different name. They don't follow up with anything, there's no repairs. We went through with these guys, a list was 1 inch thick, and they addressed every item on it. They went through and addressed it. Tommy actually went out on a walkthrough. We went on a final walkthrough, and we found a couple things, and Tommy took care of them. Just minor issues, but I think these guys are excellent roofers.
I appreciate that. Roofers do get a bad name. That's something that we are in the industry trying to change. It's a big task. It's something that we are adamant on doing. Just like used car salesmen have a bad rep, roofers tend to get that bad rep of coming in, doing what they want, bulldozing people, and then skipping town. We are not that company. We are here for the long haul, and we plan on being here for the long haul. So as long as you guys continue to love on us, we will continue to love on you. And even if you don't, we'll still continue to love on you. So it's just the nature of our company and who we are. It starts from our ownership down. He's been the sole owner since 2004, 21 years now he's been the owner. And that's not changing anytime soon either. It's a family-run company, and it's a company that means to do well.
Ask if anybody has questions.
Any last questions?
Question on the table.
Yes. One last question in the back.
So do you charge for tarping if we have a leak during a hurricane? Do you charge for coming to tarp?
So that is something that we're in the middle of working out with Miss Anissa on what that will look like. So. But yeah. But just to reiterate, we're going to figure that out. We're not trying to take advantage with the tarping. We're trying to help with the tarping. But tarping can very quickly turn into a lot of money for us. If you've been to Home Depot recently, everything just keeps going up in price. So we do need to, we're still a business at some point. We've got to cover our expenses still. So we are working that out though.
All right. I'm trying to get the answer when they're gonna do the roof at 29.
You want to ask about turbine?
Oh, I wanted to ask about the turbine. When you guys go to do the roof, can you install my turbine fan, 2 of them?
Is it the electric powered fans?
I'll pay you guys.
All right, I like that. I like you. So turbines, there's different types of turbines. So are you referring to the electric turbines? Or is that just the normal
Just the
whirly
wind.
bird, the wind ones?
All right.
So-
Using electric, it also start a fire, but
Right.
using a wind costs you nothing.
Right, so we have different opinions on those. Will we install them? Technically, we have the capability of installing them. Do we recommend them? Not really. So what ends up happening with those turbines is they're only made for a certain mile-per-hour wind. In Florida, within the flip of a switch, we run into storms that go way above those limitations for the turbines, and they turn into little helicopters that just pop off the roof. So we strongly recommend otherwise. We recommend going with the solar attic breeze or an electric installed a fan, if you're gonna go that route. The wind-driven ones, they typically will tend to leak or pop off the roof when storms come. You're supposed to, the correct practice is take them off, put a lid on it, and then put it back on after the storm passes. But in Florida, you'd have to do that pretty often.
Okay, all right, but I can do it, right?
Technically
I could-
speaking,
I
you,
could hire you to do it. Yeah. As long as you put screws in
You
there
would have
to
to decide
maintain
for
it.
your warranty if it's covered.
we would have to see it and look at
Yeah,
it
sure.
before we could answer for you specifically.
Yeah.
You know, but technically, yes, we have the capability. We have done it in the past for people.
Sure,
So
I see them on the roofs over
Yeah.
here. And I see.
We just don't
you
love
have the, now you have a new type of thing of letting the
the
light.
real question would become the
So,
warranty aspect
Have you
to
been
it.
installing the ones with the light?
The ones with the lights,
Yeah, not a,
the
yeah. ones
solar
with
tubes.
Sunlight in,
Yes,
yeah.
we install
But I
those as
think-
well.
So the roof is penetrated, right? When you install it, right?
When we install it,
Yeah.
there would be a
Yeah.
penetration in the roof. That's correct.
So you do install that because you're penetrating the roof to let the sunlight in. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, now you would need to go through the architectural control committee to have that approved and find out if it needs a permit. I don't know if it does or not.
Right, so anytime you guys want to do something different to your roof, our first question is gonna be, have you talked to your board and Ms. Anissa? Because for us, we're not gonna do any work until we get the yes from
Right,
these
so I
lovely
gotta
folks
go
right
to the
here.
building department, get a permit?
What is
No.
that?
Do you need a
Oh.
permit?
Do we need a permit? No, we don't need a permit for something of that size, typically. It,
Okay.
again, it depends on the
Yep.
size of it all, but typically, no.
If he wanted to go and do it now on his old roof, and you came along to do the roofs this year and you said you wanted to replace the sun tubes, right? If he puts it in now, what happens to the turbine if when you do redo his roof?
So if we put a turbine in on an old roof, and when it comes time for the new roof, that turbine would be thrown out, and we would have to either order a new one and install a new one at another additional cost, or we would close it up and move on with just plywood over it.
I understand.
So we
So-
cannot reuse old materials and warranty it still.
Just to make sure we put screws in it, that's all, right?
Right.
So your general rule is anything that's in the roof, any kind of event is gonna be replaced.
Correct.
So don't run out to do something on your roof like a sun tube. If you think that your roof is gonna be redone in a year or two, you're gonna, have to replace the top of it.
I would wait for you guys when you're gonna do the roof, okay?
Hi, I'm Rona, in the villa. What is the purpose of having the turbine that he was mentioning?
Yeah, so.
I don't
turbines is-
understand that.
It's an additional vent on the roof, and the way they're designed and structured to work is that it creates wind movement. So it can either, depending on the way that it's designed, you can have some that suck the wind and the air out of the attic, pulling the hot air out, and helps cool off the inside of the attic, which then allows your AC to run less, and you get a lower AC bill. Or some of them go the opposite direction. Typically, they run out, though. They pull the hot air out typically.
All right, thank you.
You just said that they were talking about the turbines, but you're talking about.
Anything that's gonna be installed in the roof, when Code Red comes along to redo a roof, they will want to replace whatever has been installed.
Had told me that you installed something. You told that gentleman you installed something.
Not a sun tube,
Turbine.
Turbines? you mean?
turbine.
Solar tubes. We install solar tubes, the sun tubes on the roof deck. We do not go into the ceiling. The ceiling that's drywall work, and we're a roofing company. So yes, you're correct on that. We do the roof deck. So what you see outside of the house, we do. Inside the house and in the attic down, we don't touch that because we're a roofing company, not a drywall company.
Yeah, so also, especially with the style that we use, not only the impact rated and, approved for code, they're also ridiculously easy to install on the inside. It really is just like you cut a hole, you slap this thing on there and screw it in. That's it. It is something that our company does not offer as a service because again, we're roofers, but it is also something that's pretty user-friendly for most homeowners to accomplish. And the company we particularly partner with for those has, I don't know if you've ever bought an IKEA thing and just pounded your head against the furniture for a little while. The instructions are nothing like that. It's very clear. It's very helpful. It's really, really solid material. So.
I would recommend having someone else do it. I've done one, and I don't enjoy it, so. But to each their own. Any last questions? Any last comments? I do, yes, sir.
Want to speak about your review thing?
Yes. So before we head out, we would love each of you to take a bag. It's all it is it's a cup, some pens, some little goodies as a thank you, a little thank you card in there, because we do appreciate your work and we appreciate when you guys keep us honest. You know, it's what keeps good businesses in business. So
We'll
we
keep
do.
you honest, don't worry.
Yeah, thank you. So we do really honor what you guys have allowed us to come in and do and the future that we believe is in store for all of us here. So feel free to take a bag, and then in it, we have a QR code. If not, if you were to help us out by going to Google and leaving a 5-star review, that is a tremendous help for us as a company, because the first thing people do when they think of a company is they typically look up our website and look up our reviews. So if you were to help us out, we would greatly appreciate and honor that if you would leave us a 5-star review, just mentioning that you live here in Rainbury and that we did your roofs and that you love us. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Nothing actually would be closed and back.
Oh, wow.
Okay, moving right along, Denise is gonna discuss some of the financials.
Okay, so the villas financials, I know it's been a hot topic. So I don't know how many of you came to one of the meetings we did where we had the collections attorney present. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just go over the collections process, because a lot of people had questions on that. So generally, when you become 30 days delinquent, FSR sends out a reminder letter. And on your ledger, you're gonna see that they charge $7.50. If you don't pay that in 30 days, FSR then sends out a second letter that they call a NOLA letter. And that letter then gives the authorization that we could proceed to the attorney if we wanted to. So after the NOLA letter is issued, in 30 days again, if you did not pay, the board has the option that they can request something that they call an authorization to proceed document, which basically authorizes FSR to send you guys to the attorney. Now, we kind of set a policy that basically we would not turn over an account to the attorney until your balance gets to 2,000. So 2,000 is basically going to be 1/4 of dues and any sort of buildup of charges. It helps to bypass a little bit of time versus immediately sending you, because what we've noticed is we might want to send you, but then we realize you pay it off the next month for whatever reason it occurred. So we give it a chance in that way. Now the dues went up a lot this year. It was at 1726, 1785. So it's not going to take people long to get to 2,000, and then the file would get transferred. They also charge a $50 fee, a late fee, that's charged quarterly as well. When we get to 2,000, basically I would request this ATP document and I give it to the board. They'll review your ledger. If they're in agreement to send you to the attorney, they sign it, and then I turn it back to FSR. That letter does incur a cost as well. It's $95 that gets charged. After that, it then goes to the attorney's office. They're going to start the process where they're going to send a demand letter out. If the resident does not respond or make a payment, they then proceed to send a secondary letter. That letter is basically an intent of filing a claim of lien against the person. If they don't respond to that letter, they then officially file a claim of lien against your property that gets recorded. After the claim of lien, if you still haven't made a payment, you still haven't reached out, try to settle your account, you then end up going into the association foreclosure stage. And at that point, that's where basically they're going to auction your property and it gets sold. So the whole collections process can generally take 6 to 8 months before it gets to that association foreclosure. And then by the time it's recorded with the courts, they do the auction, everything, it's about a year before we'll get back the money. So for right now, the association attorney currently has 14 files already at the office that they're working on. In the month of, I could give an update on that. Out of the 14, 6 of the accounts are on payment plans. 2 of them are in the letter stage. 1 of them is in the claim of lien stage, and 5 of them have reached association foreclosures. So that's not going to be good because those 5 properties will get sold if the owner doesn't settle their account before. For the month of May, I also had 5 files transferred. So they're going to be starting the letter process with the attorney. The delinquency balance, I wanted to give you guys current numbers. So I ran the reports as of yesterday. Right now, even though the special assessment has finished, we do have an outstanding balance of $51,214.80. The maintenance fees, this is going to be outstanding if it is that it's over 90 days. So that would mean that you didn't make your January payment or the quarters before. That has a huge balance. It's $113,493.60. We did notice a really negative trend because we had the April dues that were due. And out of the April dues, we currently have $89,768.15 outstanding. So that is huge. That means a large portion of people did not pay for April because if you think of those who didn't pay January and before, that's 113, and April alone was 89,000. We also have some people that did not pay the road special assessment in full. So that's $2,560.25. So right now we have a grand total of $257,036. That's outstanding. All right. That's just villas. So then I also wanted to just give an update. Currently, as of yesterday, in the reserve account, we have 257,000, and in the operating account, we have 293. The major expense we have coming up that we've been paying out of reserve is that we need to finish D&T for the paint program that they're doing now. So it is a little scary, especially as seeing what's occurred with April, because the reality of it is that the Master Association, for example, they get funded every month. You guys pay villas quarterly, but Master gets funded monthly. If we have high delinquencies, it's going to get to a point where villas may not have enough money in their bank account to transfer to Master. And if Master can't collect the money, it means your amenities may have to get closed, or we're going to have to reduce services because now the association cannot afford it. So it is really important that people pay their dues. I understand it is an older community. Some people are living on fixed incomes, but the reality of it is that this is an HOA where there's so much responsibility on the HOA to provide all these services, whereas in traditional HOAs, usually the owner takes care of their own roof, the stucco, the painting. So you guys have a huge budget. The master budget is like almost 6 million, and you all spend through it every year. So it's really, really important that you spread the word. And, there's some people that were just so upset by the special assessment. They thought they could spite people by not paying it. But all you're doing is you're hurting your neighbors and the whole community in general by doing it. So we really need to get this delinquency reduced. We're doing everything that we can. Every single month, I run the delinquency report. Like I said, as soon as I see that that first quarter hasn't been paid and you're getting to 2,000, I transfer your file. So the attorney has all those accounts right now that have huge balances. So basically, I'm going to look again at the end of May, see who's outstanding, and we're going to keep going through the process. So it is unfortunate. The office has been receiving calls recently asking for payment plans because there are residents that are saying they can't afford the dues. Unfortunately, we don't have a payment plan process, and it's really only after your file is transferred to the attorney depending on what type of payment plan you do, they can accommodate it. If you're looking for a long-term payment plan, the attorney usually rejects it, and then he continues his collection process. So it is a very unfortunate situation, but I just wanted to be upfront because I know it's a hot topic and a lot of people have been asking what's going on. All right. Any questions? Put it to the back.
Hi, my name is Lourdes Alfonso and I'm a Villa resident. I have a question regarding the attorney's fees. The person in delinquency is responsible for the attorney's fees.
Yes, so one thing that I like with this collections attorney, because like at the last community I worked at, for example, the HOA had to pay the fees and charge it back. Valancy, what he does, he's not charging anything to the association. His dues are coming strictly from the resident. So at least we don't have to put out money. The only money we're putting out before would be the letter charges to FSR. But once the file gets turned over to the attorney, everything he collects directly.
And the payment plan that the attorney offers, is there interest included?
Yes, generally there is interest, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and he doesn't do it long term because we've seen some ridiculous requests where they might want like a 2-year payment plan. He generally does not approve those.
Because what happens is if we give a payment plan, we, the residents, are really financing these people. And
yeah,
almost if you own a house or a villa, you should be in a position to get some personal financing. That it doesn't have to be the community financing yourself.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. Thank you.
I'm coming right, oh, I'll be there in a minute. then.
Hi, my name is Chris Mendy. I had a question regarding the charges that was the FSR charges for, there's 3 letters that you send out as far as.
It's 2 letters. So you have the $750 and they charge that the very, very first time you ever get a letter. After
$7.50?
Yes. And then the second letter is $35. That $35 charge can go every single month until you pay it or I transfer your file to the attorney.
So do you send out, I'm sorry, you said $75?
No, $35.
35, and then
when we're transferring the file to the attorney, there's a $95 charge.
No, my question is what they charge to send out the letter.
Delinquent has to pay for it too.
Okay, and then I think you said there's about 200,000 ballpark that's in arrears. How much of that, do you happen to know are for the assessments?
That's what I just read out. So for the roads assessment, it's 2,560. And then for the roof assessment, it's 51,000.
Thank you.
I'm coming right.
I don't want to feel like the Grim Reaper here, but I feel for these people. A lot of these people have been here for 20 years and paid, and now they're walking around and walkers and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, I guess it's business as usual. However, I would like to know is, how did we get to this position? Why wasn't this, after it came to 25? Initially, I believe it started at 41, but then all of a sudden it was 25. And then the lawyer stepped in and we got $330,000 back from the first shot. In between that, we got $550,000 from villas for the roofs. Now, what I'm hearing now is the money's all gone already, isn't it, or what? What's going on? Where is the money going?
The budget.
The special assessment, we didn't make a profit off the special assessment. Your special assessment goes off of what we paid Code Red roofers. So all that money that's been paid has been paid to Code Red roofers.
Okay, fine. But what about, how did this get to this position of all these people being delinquent? You think maybe after 4 people, something be jumping on them? Why did it get to 25?
Because people's financial situation changes.
I know,
can't
but
control.
Who's in charge of that? I want to know.
People that, it's their money.
No, I understand that, but somebody's collecting the records, like I send in my check, right?
Yes, but
Okay, I get checked off.
once they get to the 2,000, we transfer the file. But what we're trying to show you all is there a trend now that a lot of residents in the community can't afford the new pricing of the dues. A lot of them could not afford the special assessment. That was a huge thing that made a lot of people delinquent. So they were paying the quarterly all the time, and now they're delinquent because they haven't paid the special assessment.
This has
So
always been like this. They didn't change the rules in the.
no, this is
Always, it's always been like that.
yeah. But that's what my whole point to this was, that you have the balances that are 90 plus. So that means, like I said just now, it's that you didn't pay your January payment or in the prior years. Those accounts are already with the attorney, and it's gotten to the point where he's going to have to go to the association foreclosure stage. But in April, we saw a trend that 89,000 was delinquent just for the month of April. And that's why we're bringing it to you guys' attention, because we don't know what's going to happen. When we have July charged, we're going to see. Yes.
And no signs or whistles went off that there's something happening.
The only thing that's the matter is that the residents can't afford. The residents can't afford the dues and they're not paying it.
I know, but why is it that they step forward ahead of this before it got out of hand?
How could I can't read people's minds to know when they could pay their dues and they can't.
When they don't pay, they don't pay.
Excuse me, something that goes hand in hand, by the way. The number of properties presently on the market for sale in our community is about 35.
Yes.
I remember many, many years when half a dozen properties for sale would be the norm. Properties would sell quickly. The situation right now is backwards to that. Properties take much longer to sell. And obviously, what we're hearing is that it's highly likely that many people now are being pressured financially to put their house on the market and get out and try to find something more acceptable to their finances.
I'm coming, Steve. Oh, you have another question? I'll get to you in a second, Steve.
Bob Williams wanted to know the total. Apparently, it kind of broke up.
257,036.
Anissa, just real quick, out of the ones that are delinquent, do you know how many are up for sale?
Yes, so the association foreclosure stage, there are 5 of them right now.
No, but people that have their
Oh,
house
for
on the
selling?
market.
I didn't run a real estate report.
That could be could be an interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be an interesting thing to see out of those
I
people
know
that are delayed.
for
How
a
many of
fact-
them are on the market?
There's one lady that's reached association foreclosure, and when I read the attorney notes, she did notify him that she is trying to sell the unit.
Okay.
So she is one of them. However, there are a lot of people in general that are just selling because they can't afford the dues.
Right.
So,
okay. The other thing that we were talking is an option is also people to look into a reverse mortgage. If they're older people, that could be a possibility, because what happens is, yes, we get older, we want to hold on to what we have, but we also have responsibilities. So maybe that we should have a seminar on reverse mortgage. So people just learn about it. They can be a gimmick, but they can be an option.
That could backfire.
Anissa did a very good presentation of explaining everything. It was one of the best I've ever heard. And I appreciate it because I know you're staying on top of things. We've always had this issue with villas. It's higher now than it's ever been, but villas has always had, over the years, a very high delinquency rate, much higher than homes, but homes is catching up now too. Just want to ask you, you said 250 is about the total.
257.
And I think you said 51 was roofs and 2,000 was
roads.
2,000 roofs. And 51 was
51 was for the roofs.
roof. How much is for maintenance?
The over 90 days, it's 113, and for April, it was 89.
So you're including the April in that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Maybe something that'll be paid.
Just for villas. Just for villas. 1 month. That's why it's very scary, because this is the first month that I'm seeing this trend. And all the time that I've been here, I haven't seen that.
So I had a question with, what amenities would you cut if we don't pay?
That's gonna be a master decision, because if they can't afford to pay the bills, they're gonna have to make a decision as a board and with you guys as the members to figure out what you all wanna do. But that suggestion would not come from me.
The villas don't have any amenities. We're
Right,
paying
and-
master.
Honestly, I think that that certainly would be an imaginative way of going about trying to collect maintenance dues. I think the rest of the residents would have a real problem with cutting back the amenities.
If I may, the board also has the ability to remove your access from the resident lane at the front gate if you're delinquent. So that's something the board can choose to do legally. The guest lane, come in the guest lane.
I don't know what situation any individual homeowner has. It just bothers us a lot that some people may really be in trouble and others are thumbing their noses and buying a new car. I don't know. You can't ask people all these personal questions, but I feel badly that, as soon as the quarter is up, like April, it was due in April, you had 30 days. On May 1st, that letter goes out, that's $750. Following month, a $35 letter. Following month, a $35 letter. You get a $50 late fee. We are paying FSR those letter fees, and we have to pass them on to people. So we're laying it out, everybody in the villas is laying it out because you're paying it in. It bothers me so much that we can't do away with all these charges. People call us up, can you, get rid of this, I'll pay this, and it breaks your heart. But people have to know, those charges are gonna be there. We're paying them. They're gonna be assessed to the resident, and it builds up so fast that then it's like a snowball. And before you know it, it's out of your control. So when you're talking to people, just say, we're not, we can foreclose. People think that they have, what do you call it? Homesteading. And your house can't be foreclosed on. HOAs can foreclose. I know people that are in bad way, and it breaks your heart. And there's nothing that we can do. We can't play favorites or anything when somebody tells us they have a problem. We just have to follow what we do for everybody. So just to keep it in mind, it's no joke when people don't pay. If there's a way around it, maybe suggest reverse mortgages or whatever people can do. I think some people should put the assessment maybe on a credit card if they can. Because I think that our charges may wind up being higher than the interest on the credit card. I don't know. But it's not fun.
I have a question here. They want to know how many of the delinquent people are actually dead?
Dead?
Well, in other words, they're not paying because they passed away and
I haven't encountered that. Yeah.
okay, but I'll just repeat the
That was
question.
actually the question I was going to ask. Have we ever been around to check the homes to see, do a wellness check or?
From most of the notes I've seen with the attorney, they've been back and forth with the resident, trying to come
I
up.
mean, it's
with a
901
solution.
homes. That's a lot of homes and
Yeah.
a lot of people.
336 in the village.
336 villas, that's a lot. Well, yeah, that's still a lot. I mean, I feel bad for everybody, but everybody's responsible for their own homes or villas. I don't know what to do.
Thank you very much. Has anybody sold their house or their condo and not paid?
No, once they're selling, the title company collects the dues.
All right.
So yeah,
okay,
we get it
all
done.
right. Wanted to make sure. We're getting that.
We get it even if they're dead.
Should we go back to the idea of lottery tickets? Bring a lottery ticket to the meeting
On to violation.
or GoFundMe for our neighbors, I don't know.
That's not on? Oh,
Okay, no more questions on that?
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah,
that's
all
a
the good
difficult-
news.
Difficult scenario.
Okay, we want to talk about violations and we elect Barry to talk about it.
Yeah, I get the difficult one of the violations. So FSR has been driving around, the property manager's been driving around and checking on things. I know we're all happy with Brightview, so the lawns and the landscape looks much better. And now we have to get people to act better. So the three main concerns that we have, furniture and other items in common areas. You can't store your stuff outside your fence if you have the villa. It's nice, but you can't do it. Illegal plantings and overgrown trees and shrubs those are the three, the furniture, the illegal plantings and the overgrown trees and shrubs are the three big items. So just so everybody knows, you're responsible for 18 inches off your property. Okay? 18 inches. The landscape contract doesn't cover tree maintenance. And the residents are responsible for trees becoming overgrown. If you have a red reflector and you decline maintenance service to your shrubs, then you're also responsible for the shrubs if they become overgrown. This is all kind of common sense stuff. Residents need the ACB, which is the Architectural Committee, approval if you want to add a fence, hurricane shutters, screen enclosures, change doors and windows, and landscaping around your unit. Anything that's going to change the look, you've got to go through the ACB. You cannot add solar, the tubes, the skylights, or anything else to the roof. Red roof, explain that, code red. So you don't want to lose your warranty. I mean, money is tough enough as it is. It's tight enough. The last thing you want to do is lose your roof warranty because you did something on the roof without going through the proper channels. So if you want to do something to the roof, it can be done. You need to talk to Code Red. You need to stop at the management office and get everything cleared and go through the things the right way. I just did in my unit 3 sliding doors and the front door, and the process is not bad at all. The company that did it did all the permitting. I helped them a little bit with the architectural board, just with the form, but they did everything. Everything went smoothly. The city signed off on it, and I have a final inspection tomorrow. So I'm hoping the final inspection goes well and everything is good, and we go from there. But people need to realize you cannot just make changes without going through these procedures. If you have any questions, you can check with the ACB rules and regulations, and the office can help you with that.
Question?
I'm coming.
Ray, at the next meeting, could you sit over there? Because you can, Lois won't have to walk this far.
Thank you. I need that.
All right, on this, I've been here 11 years. I've gone through this 11 years. You're really gonna finally do something on the rules and regulations? First of all, you're 18 inches. That's baloney. From my house to the sidewalk, that's the space where my hedge is. It's 42 inches, right? Some people are smaller, some is different. So if you have a hedge there, right, and you want 18 inches, they're gonna have to cut the hedge till it's like really skinny.
They'll
Do
do the
you
right
realize that?
thing. They'll do the right thing. I mean, you're responsible for 18 inches. You're responsible for 18
Hey, the
inches.
hedge was there when I bought the place. I mean,
brought the
it's
hedge?
the original hedge.
That's okay.
No, you can't trim it. If it- the hedge is 30 inches wide. You're gonna cut it in half and it's gonna live?
The-
I don't have a fence.
Yeah, you can use up to the sidewalk. They're not gonna go out of the way and go crazy. Technically, it's 18 inches. If you have a shrub that's up to the sidewalk, you're okay.
What's that?
If you're up to the sidewalk, you're okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna
okay.
bother you.
Oh,
They're,
okay.
they're looking for things that are visually annoying, that look like they reduce the value of the property.
All right, great.
That's what they're looking for.
Good, good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, no?
Nobody wants it.
Go ahead.
They decided that.
Oh, the parking spaces. I know my unit has 4, and we're each entitled to 2 spots. There's only 8 spaces, yet we have two white spaces, 4 yellow, and then another 2 white. Why?
And the block next to us has everything white. Every block is different. Why? Are we not entitled to 2 spaces? And apparently the white is supposed to be for the resident.
Right.
And so when we first moved in, we parked in a white spot and our neighbor came and knocked at our door and said, no, that's her second spot. So we've always parked in the yellow space, except sometimes it is yellow now. It's yellow.
So
So sometimes we come home and someone's parked there because
So there's a couple of issues, and I think this is more of a master's item than it is villas. It affects the villas, but this
but
is,
it only affects the village.
so it's part of the paving, obviously, with the striping and all that went on. I know they actually lost a couple of spots because of the walkways, the handicap walkways had to be widened to meet code. So they're in the process right now of reviewing all that. They're going through it and trying to work out the masters board. This falls under the masters board, not under the villas. It affects us, that's for
Every
sure.
time we go to the office,
Well, there may be somebody assigned to it. There may be somebody assigned to it, but it's a masters.
No,
Yeah, no, that's a masters.
no, that's masters.
issue.
no, you're not telling me anything.
What street are you on?
Why is my block have white,
I
white,
can't answer
yellow,
that.
yellow, yellow?
I can't, I
and
was
the
not
next
involved.
block is all white?
Unfortunately, I was not involved in the paving. This is part of the paving project. When they repaved, they had to restripe.
Northwest 12th Street.
You said Northwest 12th.
Northwest 12th Street.
So has somebody done it? Do you know if anybody on the street has done a diagram of where your spots were before? We've been getting some volunteers that are trying to figure that out here and there. But no one is entitled to 2
Someone should tell
spots.
my neighbor.
No one is guaranteed 2 spots. No one in the entire place, except in the tennis building.
Right, the spots,
They
the
have
spots are
2
not
spots.
deeded, but they will be stenciled with a number on it. 12B, 129, whatever B. Yes. That, it will be worked out. Okay, well. Some of them.
Somebody did that on their own.
Anyway, long
Somebody
story.
did that on their own.
It's being worked on.
That's not, may not be their actual spot. In the end, that may change. I cannot because I'm not involved in that. That's the masters board.
I have another question.
Not a question, just an observation. Generally speaking, the white spot on the very right is for unit A, which is in the back.
The furthest unit, correct.
Yes. Then that one next to it is for unit B, which is the one facing the street. And then on the far left, you have C and D. And everything in the middle is yellow.
That's what makes most sense. Absolutely.
It depends on the.
Yeah, but Rick, that's your block, and if you go to 30th, that doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
I've worked on the roads project from the beginning. I'm not assigning any parking spots. But they did have to change the dimension of the parking. And as Gail said, or Barry said, they had to ask the crosshatch where there's a little sidewalk. So that changed the number of spots per block. So some blocks have more spots than others. Like 30th Street never had enough spots down in this section, and 29th had plenty. So it's not a set rule, but that's unfortunately. And I know because I had a friend who moved in many, many years ago that she thought she was having 2 spots, and they took one away when they added the crosshatch, the ADA compliant for wheelchairs. So everybody doesn't get 2 spots.
And some people are very lucky because the crosshatch goes right into the grass.
We discussed that too. Another story.
That's like that old sign that says plan ahead. Yes, you have. But look how pretty your paint job was. Okay. Any more questions on violations?
Then we'll do the last one, and then we can ask general questions.
Okay, we're gonna go on to hurricane preparedness and ask Janet. To speak.
One question.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
There's a violation now. Thank you. There's a violation. I've been to the office for over a year, many times. You guys weren't even here when I first come in. You know what I'm talking about? A neighbor of mine, they have a dog. They have 2 dogs. They have 2 cats. One of the cats got into 2 of them got into my patio, broke my screen. I had that all resolved. Yeah, really, it was very angry. Now they have these 2 dogs. Frequently, they are running in the middle of the street. Now, they're little dogs, not teeny little ones, but they're small dogs. The point is, I'm not a dog person. I come down the street on my bicycle one day, this dog's running after me. I'm not afraid of dogs, but I'm not a dog person. I have complained, I have taken pictures. Matter of fact, I have a picture on my phone, April 7th of this last month, 1 month ago, today? The dog was in the street again. And everybody, when I go to the office, I emailed them the picture. They say they're sending a letter. I guess that. Well, we're talking violations. So I was wondering it's a villa, in a villa. They also have a young child. The baby was born 2 years ago. This 2-year-old is still living there. Matter of fact, they got rid of all their baby stuff the other day and left a baby playpen in the middle of the street by the dumpster. I saw them do it. That's the master though.
Give her the address.
Can you give me the address?
Carol. She's asking for the address. Oh, okay.
Quiet. There's not only animals, but it's a baby living there. Because we did, the master board sent out the new rules and regs a little over a month ago, and we were giving people the opportunity to get them and read them before starting to send out a lot of letters, but I expect we will be sending letters out now. That's why we're talking about it again today. Just take a look and see what's going on, and if you've got something that doesn't belong, get rid of it, and if you want to do something, ask first. Okay, Janet.
So the last item on our agenda today is to talk about hurricane preparedness. I'm sure everyone, it's not here. I'm sure everyone has some concept of what it is we have to do. And a big issue, of course, are the snowbirds who leave without securing their furniture and flower pots and anything that can fly around in hurricane. We've been really lucky for the last 10, 15 years or so. We haven't had a major hit, but it could happen. I won't jinx us. I'm saying it could happen, and it may happen sooner or later. So, what do we need to do to prepare for hurricanes? You need to understand that anything that is outside of your house on your patio or whatever can become a missile. I remember the last Hurricane Maria when I was staying with some friends on the 11th floor and things were traveling past the window horizontally, things like palm trees and signage and all kinds of furniture. So it's something really serious. Fortunately, we have some people volunteering here on CERT, which is the agency or the group here, the certified group. David and Lois are both on it, who will help us, and so is Carol. They're telling me. But so you have to make provisions and know that when a hurricane is coming, you need to store things inside of your house or in some place where they will not fly around, because that's the major danger of hurricanes. People have hurricane shutters to protect their windows from flying objects primarily. So you have to also ensure that all of your information is current with the office. Make sure you're on the e-blast list. Make sure that the phone number that they have is up to date and correct. And that if you're a snowbird and leaving, or if you're a permanent resident, please notify someone near you, perhaps, who can help keep an eye on your property, because acts of nature. I'm trying not to get too doom and gloom about it, but it could be bad. Question?
A question that's not necessarily a question not necessarily about hurricanes exactly, but which board has the responsibility for trimming trees in the common area that are overhanging patios and roofs in the village?
So it's the Master Association, and we have not completed the hurricane trim as yet. I'm waiting to get the calendar from Brightview so that I know when we're scheduled for. From what they've told me, it looks like it's going to be in June, but they haven't given me the start date as yet.
And the one last item about hurricane coverage is you need to be sure that you have all the contact information for your insurance company. The HOA is not responsible for the inside of your home. You also need to make sure that you have the home insurance policy HO3. I know some people have condo insurance, which is HO6. That will not cover you. It will not, you need to have HO3, and please check with your insurance agent and make sure that you do. Yes.
Yes. Hi, I'm Joyce Beekman. My question is, I know to get everything out of the patio and put it inside safely, but what do we do with propane tanks? Is there a safe place to store them? Because I would much rather not bring them into the house. I'll bring my barbecue grill in. I got no problem with that, but not the propane tank. We don't have a storage.
I would think they need to stay outside, obviously. I'm not 100% sure, but I would think you would want to get a chain and a lock and tie it to something that's not going anywhere as best you can.
For example, what would that be?
If you have a large tree near you, I mean, that's probably the best you're gonna do that's most permanent. Obviously, with the hurricane coming, it's gonna depend on the winds. You don't want to tie it to a fence. A fence will come down very quickly. So I would
Makes
think
sense.
if you have a large tree nearby, something you could think about, if you have a patio, they make spikes that you can put into the ground. If you can get one that will sustain a wind like that, You could tie it to that with an eye hook, an eye hook, something like that. You could possibly put something into your patio itself. If it's concrete, you could actually put some kind of bolts into that with an eye on the head and tie it all to that. But it should be tied down with a chain and a lock, if that's, propane, standard propane tanks.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, also,
I kind of like the sacrificing of a tree. But, okay.
we looked into that a little while also. They like you to bury them.
That's
They like you to, for some reason, float them in a pool. We don't approve of that. And yes, chaining them to a tree was one of the main ways of what you do it. Actually, I just, leave it outside.
Yeah,
What
I've
about
had
putting
this,
it in the trunk of your car.
Yeah, that's good.
but you don't really want to be driving around with propane tanks in your trunk.
You never put it in the trunk.
Just for
You have
the
to put it
day
in the
of.
back seat. You never put it in the trunk. If you get hit by another car.
No, if your car's stationary
If
and
your
you're
car's
hunkering
sick, I
down.
would still put it in the back seat of the car, not in the trunk.
I actually watched an episode of one of those where they blow things up to see if it happens. And it is almost impossible to get a propane tank to explode. They've shot them, they've thrown them into fires. They will leak when they get hot because they're designed to do that. The valve will leak, gas. But the only time on record that a propane tank actually exploded was some guy trying to move propane from one tank into another in his garage, I think. So they're not easy to blow up.
Okay, and so, and the one thing that I always forget to do, but I'm gonna remember this time, is to take photographs of your property. The inside of the building, the inside of the rooms, what furniture do you have there, especially your valuable elements. And
If we had valuables, we wouldn't be living here.
She just said that if you want coverage by FEMA, although that may not be possible. But they need to know what is in your refrigerator and what is in your freezer. If we lose power, if that's going to be covered, you need to know what is in there.
The terrace mine's gotta be full of coffee.
We were always told to, if you have any valuable papers, to put them in the top shelf of your dishwasher, because that's a water seal. Some people use the washing machine, and the CERT program has something, it looks like a little bullet. You put information in there and you put your emergency stuff on your refrigerator so that if somebody has to come in, they'll know we have 2 people living here and 2 pets. We have a cat, we have a dog. So that information, they like to have it available because those of us that do volunteer for CERT, if there's any major damage, we go house to house. And we need more volunteers. Thank you. Oh, I want to add one more thing. Janet mentioned about HO3. The HOA does not cover your roof if it's damaged in a storm. That's why you have an HO3 policy.
Right, and anybody that wants to revise their policy can't do so after June 1st. They won't write it, not unless you're a new buyer.
What?
So if you're not paying about 4,000 or more, you haven't got HO3.
Who won't renew what?
Insurance companies won't write policies for us that are current owners. They're not gonna revise anything after June 1st. It's the hurricane season, so.
Oh, okay, yes, okay.
Yeah, if you wanted to revise a current policy, you have to do it before the 1st of June. So, any more questions?
Hello.
Yeah.
I have a question, and it probably relates to the delinquency of special assessments and such. I guess my question has to do with the this new security system in Vera or whatever, the timing of that. Someone told me, this is just pool talk, but someone was talking about the system cost $450,000 that we paid for that in cash. And, you know, is this going to result in another special assessment? I mean,
So that's
So-
a master issue.
Okay.
Villas doesn't cover that, but the whole system did not cost 450,000.
see, this is just pool time.
Yeah, I
But
believe
again,
the
you know-
gates were like around 100,000, and I think the Invera system was like
Okay.
30,000.
Okay. Okay, so the master, is that for the homes, the master?
No,
board?
that's the
Oh,
master
okay.
association.
Okay. All right. So again, the timing of that, I mean, will another, I don't know. Oh, there is. Okay, I thought that was a home meeting. Okay. In any event, you know, if this results in a special assessment.
No, it
okay,
wouldn't result
Very
in
good,
a special
because
assessment.
people are having a hard enough time, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So, very good, thank you.
Ready to say Murphy's Law.
The purpose of Invera was supposed to save us money by not requiring the security patrol during the day. The whole idea was to save money, not cost more.
My question is, does the community have a place that they say, okay, there's a hurricane coming, everyone go?
Do you mean a shelter?
A shelter, you know, yeah,
We-
come here,
No,
or
we do not have an official shelter.
like, are those windows hurricane?
No,
So we don't have any place,
Yeah,
yes.
that Lois, I think, she's the one.
Yeah, Lois has been around long enough to answer that.
So there is no shelter. When because for cert, when there's an all clear, this room gets turned into a triage center. Carol's part of cert as well now. We have nurses on property that live here. And they set this room up with lounges for anyone who's injured. If we need to bring anyone in. After it's all clear and we've had a chance to check, if we can, we do use the clubhouse, but it's locked initially. But then we do use the clubhouse as a place to hang out. Like if you've lost power, then like the last storm that came through Irma, we had one section of homes or villas really, and homes that didn't have any power for over a week. And people just hung out here. You know, this way we made a pot of coffee, people brought fruit, you know, if your refrigerator was off. So anyway, no, there's no shelter. And if this building is damaged, then we try to use the theater.
And accommodate for medicines, right?
Yes, we have a refrigerator for medicines. Okay, one more question,
Plug in a cell phone.
maybe one more question. So
Here's a list of shelters. Are you brand new to the area? Are you new? Because you see every year where there's shelters in the local schools, if you don't feel comfortable at home.
one more question.
Okay.
Gail, I've got a question. So what's the story with pool 2? I've heard.
Oh, the other
rumors-
rumor, I was gonna ask,
That
what,
rumor
let's
about-
get them all out here.
Okay, another rumor just that pool 2 is closing because of the leak. It's closing for the summer. That's the rumor.
I have, yeah, well, that's the rumor. I don't have an answer for that.
It's so crazy.
We already repaired the leak. We repaired the leak. Yeah,
Very good.
so,
I mean, we're not here in the summer.
yeah,
but
no,
the
what it
rumor
was that the building itself,
Yeah.
so it was coming through in the
Oh,
men's
we-
bathroom.
Yeah, we knew
They-
about the leak.
Right, so they already repaired it.
Okay, the rumor was the pool was closing for the summer because of I guess they bought, the chiller didn't come in last year, the wrong part was ordered, we only have a heater, not a chiller.
But you don't need to close the pool for that.
Very good. So that's all a rumor.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. No, there's only. Because we had.
Nip them in the bud.
All right, then.
Yes. Yeah. Nicholas said there's no leak.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, and I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Who's gonna second?
I'll second, Janet.
Goodbye, everybody.
Toodles.